In this video, I'll talk about an alleged Dogecoin scam and how Dogecoin could be banned on a major crypto exchange very soon. I'll talk about how it could affect Dogecoin's price and if there's anything to be worried about. So a class action lawsuit has been launched against Coinbase, alleging that the website allows investors to trade 79 unregistered coins, including XRP, Dogecoin, and Shiba Inu. The plaintiffs claimed that without registering these digital assets with the SEC and state regulators, purchasers do not have access to the disclosures that accompany the issuances of traditional securities. Rather, investors receive, at most, only the so-called white papers, which describe the token but do not satisfy the requirements for a prospectus under federal and state securities laws. So, basically the plaintiff is saying that purchasers of Dogecoin, for example, do not receive any safety net like traditional transactions, and the transactions by Coinbase do not satisfy the requirements of federal and state security laws. Certainly, it's quite bad news for Dogecoin. First the Meta scam, and now this lawsuit. All of these things are increasing stress and distrust in investors. Also, Coinbase sees millions of dollars of Dogecoin trading every day, and so any trouble with Coinbase can affect Dogecoin's trading volume and its price. If this plaintiff wins this case, then all these cryptos won't see any trading on Coinbase. But I don't think that Dogecoin holders need to panic at all, because we have seen previously that these kinds of lawsuits are filed only to create FUD in the market. Also, they aren't really that effective in affecting Coinbase's image. For instance, there was another one in December last year which suggested that Coinbase CEO stole a blockchain startup's work. And then there was another one in September over unauthorized money transfers. And yet another one was filed in June over their giveaway. But Coinbase got out of it every single time. And this is really important for Dogecoin and other cryptos because news like this can spread a lot of FUD in the crypto market. It's news like this that lead to sell-offs in the market. But as I said, it's not the time to panic. Just a couple of days ago, we talked about Joe Biden's executive order and how it'll affect crypto's price this year. So I think it's time to accumulate. Now coming back to FUD, the Fear and Greed Index currently stands at 31. The good news is that it's been constantly rising and is the highest it's been all month. This could imply that slowly and steadily, investors are pouring money back into the market. Now, let's talk about some analysis and predictions that came out today. So according to Justin Bennett, it makes zero sense for anyone to be bearish while markets are above macro support. And if we talk about long-term price stability of Dogecoin, it is definitely showing progress now. So, Investors Observer gave Dogecoin a good long-term technical score of 72 based on past trading patterns. To assess if a coin is a good buy and hold investment, the unique scoring methodology looks at price movement over the last few months to a year, examines the coin's support and resistance levels, and where it stands in relation to long-term trends. And according to this analysis, Doge now outperforms 72% of cryptos in circulation in terms of long-term technical analysis. This ranking indicator is particularly beneficial for buy and hold investors who want to allocate their assets in a way that ensures significant, consistent growth. So, despite all the bad news, investors do not need to lose their calm. It looks like Dogecoin will certainly bounce back. Now, let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin analysis and performance. Its price has been maintained by the major support level at 37K, as shown on the daily chart, which has led to a break out of the RSI resistance trendline and an attempt at the 100-day moving average. On Bitcoin's way to the top of the range, this is a big obstacle. If the moving average is breached, the 4 to 5K supply zone is unavoidable. Now, let's talk about a really interesting metric for Bitcoin called CDD. If you don't know, CDD is a lifespan indicator that shows if spent BTC was previously unspent for a long time. So every day that a coin remains dormant, it creates a coin day, and these CDD days are destroyed once the coin is spent. So for Bitcoin, the CDD indicator jumped dramatically at the start of 2021, reaching a peak of more than 390K in January. Since then, it has continued decreasing, reaching a low of 141.8K on October 27. Since then, the 90-day CDD has been below 200, which is considered an oversold area. Now, we can look at it in two different ways. If we compare the 90-day one to the one we saw in January 2021, then it's pretty low. But if we compare the current scenario to the one we saw in October 2021, then it looks like things have been improving. It suggests that investors haven't been selling as much as they were 5 months ago, and that is really good news for Bitcoin. Now, let's talk about what another on-chain analyst, Will Clement, said about Bitcoin. He said that on the on-chain side, there hasn't been any change from the previous week. He pointed out that around 20% of Bitcoin's money supply has changed in the price range, implying that spot market premiums have remained stable. And in the derivatives market, there hasn't been much exuberance either. The price differential between spot Bitcoin and 3-month futures contracts, known as quarterlies, has been narrowing. So basically, he just pointed out that we're trading sideways. But still, there's some more data and predictions that suggest that Bitcoin will see a huge growth soon. So the CEO of Pantera Capital said that the mass adoption of Bitcoin could drive its price up to $400K in less than 3 years. That might seem outrageous, but I think he's making a valid point. He said that his prediction is based on the basic demand and supply model of economics. He also said that every 2 years, 10 times more people use cryptos than they did in the past, and that's been going on for a decade. Every 2 years, it's 10 times more. And every 2 years, the price of crypto's gone up 10x. Moving on, let's look at another prediction from Plan B. A lot of people have been criticizing him because of how inaccurate he turned out to be in December. But if we look at this band right here, then it seems that Bitcoin was within the range that Plan B suggested. Now Plan B has come up with a new prediction. He said that Bitcoin will reach a 100K average price in 2 years. And another analysis came out from Mike Novogratz. Surprisingly, he had some really nasty things to say about Bitcoin. He said that Bitcoin is unsuitable for use as a currency. And in contrast, assets like Ethereum could be used as a better means of exchange. The point is that the Russian ruble has lost nearly 40% of its value against the dollar in less than a month its invasion of Ukraine. And the Turkish lira also has lost about 50% of its value versus the dollar in the last year. And so, very soon, these nations will be looking at other forms of payments. And this is where cryptos like Dogecoin and Ethereum will come in. Now, let's talk about Ethereum's Kiln testnet merged update and how it affected ETH. If you don't know, Ethereum's Kiln testnet merged earlier this week in preparation for a future switch to proof of stake. And this move resulted in a pretty decent bump in ETH's price. Investors are anticipating that once this switch to PoS is made, it's going to be really beneficial for ETH. And I have to agree with them. Its future really bright to me as well. So there's another bullish update for ETH from today. So according to Into the Block, over 180K ETH has been moved from large centralized exchanges in the last 72 hours. These ETH withdrawals are presently valued at well over $490 million at an average price of around 27K. It's an amazing news for ETH investors because this move suggests that holders are moving their holdings to private wallets. And as we discussed before, they do that mostly when they intend to hold them for the long term. Now, let's talk about some news for Shiba Inu. So this is an interesting one. It says that Shiba Inu lost over 30K holders in single day, but Ethereum whales continue to accumulate SHIB. So 2 Ethereum whales have acquired more than 300 billion SHIB tokens worth more than $7 million in the previous few days. And this is pretty great because we've seen the amount of influence these whales can have on the market. So I think this is great news for Shiba Inu in the long term. Now, let's talk about Cardano and some other altcoins. According to Sentiment data, developers have submitted 1,070 significant code submissions each day to the Uniswap's GitHub repository. Other coins that saw huge activity in this regard are Cardano, Polkadot, and Kusama. Basically, the rising development activity among blockchain platforms is definitely going to open more doors for these altcoins and will help them recover sooner than we expect. Now let's come back to Dogecoin for a minute. We saw it go in the green yesterday, but today it's back in the red. My guess is that this is because of all the FUD that is being spread about cryptos and exchanges like Coinbase. But as I said, this is not the time to panic because overall, the market is looking bullish in the long term. In any case, do you think we'll break past the 13 cents resistance level tomorrow? Let me know in the comment section below.